Hi, how are you?
你好，师姐好。
吉祥，
你好。
Wake up from the darkness. Look out on peaceful skies. Living a life of hope. Planting the seeds we sow. Create with all your passion. Embrace with all your faith, goodwill with every step, truthful with every breath, love and peace light the way to brighten each day. Together we stand for a better pure land, spreading love and peace with our open hands. We are one. We're here for you. Love and peace light the way as we join our hearts. Together we stand as we're holding hands, spreading love and peace to all who we meet. We are one. The world is our home. We are one. We are one with peace. We are one with peace. Sharing love, spreading peace. We are one. Wake up from the darkness. Oh, Wake up from the darkness. Look out on peaceful skies. Living a life of hope. Planting the seeds we sow. Create with all your passion. Embrace with all your faith. Goodwill with every step. Truthful with every breath. Love and peace light the way to brighten each day. Together we stand for a better, pure land. Spreading love and peace with our open hands. We are one. We're here for you. Love and peace light the way as we join our hearts. Together we stand as we're holding hands. Spreading love and peace to all who we meet. We are one. The world is our home. We are one. We are one with peace. We are one with peace. Sharing love, spreading peace. We are one. Wake up from the darkness. Oh, look out on peaceful skies. Living a life of hope. Planting the seeds we sow. Love and peace light the way to brighten each day. Together we stand for a better, pure land. Spreading love and peace with our open hands. We are one. We're here for you. Love and peace light the way as we join our hearts. Together we stand as we're holding hands. Spreading love and peace to all who we meet. We are one. The world is our home. We are one. We are one with peace. We are one. Sharing love, spreading peace. We are one. Wake up from the darkness. Oh, look out on peaceful skies. Living a life of hope. Planting the seeds we sow. Love and peace light the way to brighten each day. Together we stand for a better, pure land. Spreading love
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today to join our interfaith prayer service for the survivors and also the departed from the Kentucky tornado. Before I start, just a little bit of housekeeping. Please be sure to keep your microphone muted unless you're one of the speakers today. Please be sure also to turn on your video if possible. We will be taking some snapshots of the event. If you don't want to be photographed, please be sure to turn off your video, and then you will not be photographed for that. So our first speaker today is Venerable Yowang. But before we do that, we have a few videos of the tornado that we would like to share. So without further ado, maybe we could start with those videos. Thanks.
The small western city of Mayfield was among the hardest hit, with cars toppled and buildings leveled. A tornado ripped through a candle factory with over 100 people inside. The roof collapsed, causing mass casualties. A resident directed traffic.
We have a major catastrophe at the candle factory, at the jail, the courthouse, and the #1 fire station. I wouldn't try to go anywhere in this cold.
In Manette, Arkansas, near the Missouri border, a tornado ripped off part of the roof of a nursing home with 90 beds. A roof also partially collapsed at an Amazon warehouse near St. Louis, Missouri. Rescuers searched for people trapped in the rubble. Just west of Nashville, Tennessee, in the town of Kingston Springs, toppled trees and power lines littered parts of the highway. The National Weather Service said it had received several dozen reports of tornadoes touching down in 6 states.
All this was a house on a concrete slab. Not ideal against a powerful tornado, but there was an addition, a detached one, which turned out to be a lifesaver.
Look at this.
Walking the property, Jordan Evans and his son Gage find something new.
Cuts me. Little baby shoes.
Every day since the monster tore through Bremen that night.
I mean, it was a war zone.
Gage was with his dad for the weekend, but Mom was trapped at home with the rest of the family.
And I said, we need to get out there.
Gage knew the house had no basement, nowhere to get below ground except for one unique place just next door.
Yeah, it's...
A storm shelter 10 feet down and 12 feet wide.
That's when we started, getting everybody down there. It was about the time it was in Madisonville.
Stepdad Justin Pointer led the family, including 2 dogs, down inside.
It was 8 in total. It was me, my father, my nephew, his girlfriend, my wife, my 2 kids, and our grandmother.
Hunkered down in this prefab bunker, the tornado crossed over.
It started shaking the lid real bad and we had to hold it down.
Packed in tight, it was uncomfortable in every way, but at least they emerged together and safe.
And this also provided a shelter for us after the storm's already gone, because it's raining, windy, cold.
Pointer's dad put this shelter in the ground about 10 years ago.
Dad, he don't really remember exactly how much it cost, but he said he'd pay 100 times more for it right now.
A great investment, considering his dad's house is now gone.
I recommend everyone to get one, because if you have nowhere to go, this is perfect.
Now, there are several places which make these prefab storm shelters, and you can get one for less than $10,000. In Bremen, I'm John Charlton, WHS 11, on your side.
Wow. So that was video from Reuters, CBS, and NPR. So we're faced with this awful tragedy. And then what do we do? How do we make sense of this? How do we process this? First up to help us in this task is Venerable Yowang, who is the director of IBPS New York and also director of the BLIA United Nations office.
Thank you, Ken. Good afternoon, everyone. I just, this is why I really want to say thank you, everyone. And then all my dear, sorry about the interruptions. And I just want to say, dear interfaith families, and first of all, I want to thank you for being here with us today. And I knew during this time of the years, and every one of you must be very busy, have extremely busy schedule. But I think we are fortunate that we, members of many faith communities, we can be together to share our sympathy with family and with our faith community, and then can be together to share our sympathy with the family, friends, and people we do not know, but are connected as a fellow sentient beings. And we think of this time of the year as one of wonder and promise. And we celebrate a Hanukkah and a Christmas. We look forward to a new year, and we enjoy time with the family and friends. However, we are also unified this year in our sadness and grief. So many people across the Midwest, and especially in Kentucky, have lost their loved ones in their homes as the tornado rolled through their communities. Families are faced with many empty chairs at their holiday meal, and many do not even have a table or a home where they may gather. Many have lost everything and must pick up what pieces they find in the rubble. But they have their memories and their faith. In my Buddhist faith, we think of death as a beginning. It's a beginning of a new life. Therefore, later, after the chanting of my fellow venerables, Venerable Yongku, the abbots of IBPS New York and Ottawa, Canada, while hosting today's event on behalf of the International Buddhist Progress Society New York and Buddhist Light International Association, will share her thoughts and prayer with you to close our program for today. And now I will pass my virtual mic to our MC today, Ken, to start our program. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Yowang, for that insight into how we can think about this tragedy today. Now, first on the program, we have three very special guests. The first of whom, unfortunately, can't be here in person, but has provided us with a video message. This is Grace Meng, U.S. House of Representatives from the New York 6th District. So here is her video welcome that she provided for us today.
Hi, I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng from right here in Queens, and I'm honored to send greetings to everyone taking part in this virtual interfaith prayer service. Thank you to the International Buddhist Progress Society and the Buddhist Light International Association for hosting it. Taking the time to express and send your thoughts, sympathies, and compassion for the victims and survivors of the tornadoes that tore through Kentucky and other states earlier this month is commendable and deeply appreciated. Hopefully, it will serve as a sense of comfort to know that others across the country are thinking about them. The havoc that this severe weather caused is incomprehensible. It turned lives upside down and is responsible for catastrophic damage and deaths. My heart aches over the devastation in lives that have been lost and shattered by this tragedy. I join you in praying for all who have been impacted, and I'm keeping them in my thoughts at this very difficult time. Our government must be there to assist and support those affected, and let us not forget to thank the brave first responders who selflessly rushed to the scene to help the victims. Again, thank you for holding this prayer service and for all the good work that you do for those in need. I look forward to continuing to work with you and hope you stay safe and healthy. Happy New Year. Thank you.
And next, we have a message from New York State Senator Toby Ann Stavinsky.
Hi, my name is Toby Stavinsky, and I represent parts of Queens County in the New York State Senate. And I do want to thank the International Buddhist Progress Society and the Buddha's Light International Association for bringing us all together to celebrate the lives of the 77 people in Kentucky and the 90 people across the Midwest who died in that terrible, devastating tornado about a week ago. We are one community, but we are concerned about everybody. And to think that 40 tornadoes, 40, have swept across our country, to the devastation that occurred is almost unimaginable. 7 people in one family perished in the tornado. And there's really nothing we can do about it except come together and hope that the future brings peace for the survivors. We particularly think of that candle factory in Mayfield, Kentucky, where so many immigrants died. Let us hope that this doesn't happen again, and that we think of everybody, and let us hope for a peaceful and prosperous new year. And I thank you all again very much.
Okay, up next we have Elaine Fan, who will be joining us from the New York Governor's Office. Please welcome Elaine Fan.
Hi, good afternoon. My name's Elaine. I want to really apologize for the background noises and stuff. I'm really sorry that our Deputy Chief of Staff, Linda San, cannot make it today, but I want to make sure I share a letter written by Governor Kathy Hochul. So to the hosts of this interfaith prayer service, to the International Buddhism Progressive Society and Buddhist Light International Association, here is the letter from the governor. Dear friends, I'm grateful for the opportunity to express myself to all gathered for this interfaith prayer service in sympathy and remembrance of those lost in the recent tornadoes that devastated the communities of Kentucky. Our state's spiritual institutions are foundations of strength upon which communities are built and flourished. Like people of all faiths, those followers of Buddhism have been advocates of peace and humanitarian compassion in times of need. This meaningful service brings people of all beliefs together in prayer and solemn remembrance of those lost in the catastrophic storms that swept across our nation's heartland, hitting the western Kentucky region the hardest. People worldwide are saddened by the deaths of many of our fellow human beings and the vast destruction of homes, schools, and public institutions that were the center of life for these small communities. Here in New York State, we join in this expression of grief and support for individuals and families affected by such unthinkable loss, and we offer heartfelt hope and help in the weeks and months ahead. We're thankful to be home to the International Buddhist Progressive Society and Buddha's Light International Association that are sources of strength in difficult times. With peace and best wishes to all. Cassie Hoko.
Thank you so much, Elaine. I know this is a difficult time, and we really appreciate the governor sending that letter to our prayer service today. Thank you very much for reading that for us.
Thank you so much.
Now we want to turn to our faith leaders, and we have a number of faiths represented today. Our first faith leader is Reverend Chloe Breyer, who is director of the Interfaith Center of New York.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the International Buddhist Progress Society for this opportunity to come together to grieve and to offer prayers. I wanted to offer a prayer in the Episcopal tradition, which I am part of, and acknowledge in this season of Advent, in which Christians look towards with grateful anticipation towards the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, who is the light of the world, as Christians believe, and offers us some hope even in the darkest hours. So in that spirit, please join in prayer if that is your practice. Let us pray for the whole world. Grant, Almighty God, those who confess your name and those who don't, may they be united in your truth, live together in your love, and reveal your glory in the world. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Guide the people of this land, especially those in the Midwest who've suffered from devastating tornadoes, that we may care for one another and honor one another and serve the common good. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Give us all a reverence for the earth as your own creation, that we may use its resources rightly in the service of others and to your honor and glory. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Comfort and heal all those who suffer, who are survivors of this disaster and who suffer in body, mind, or spirit. Give them courage and hope in their troubles and bring them to the joy of your salvation. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We commend to your mercy all who have died, families, the children, the first responders, those whose names we know and those whose names we don't know. That your will for them may be fulfilled, and that we pray that we may share with all your saints in your eternal kingdom. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. And in conclusion, Almighty and everlasting God, draw all our hearts to you, so guide our minds, so fill our imaginations, so control our wills that we may be wholly yours, utterly dedicated to you, and then use us, we pray, as you will, and always to your glory and the welfare of your people. Through your holy name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Breyer, for sharing that lovely prayer with us today. Next, we have Reverend James Lynch, who is president of the Buddhist Council of New York.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me here. Loss is part of life. In Buddhism, you can't have one without the other. And I was thinking about these people and the suffering that they had been doing even before this service. And I wanted to thank Venerable Yu Long and the International Buddhist Progress Society for bringing us together today in a moment to reflect in our busy times with all the stresses we all have. But life, as I was saying, we're just passing through. And one of the things I think that we should be mindful of is how we're going to progress forward as we go forward with our suffering as well as our joy. And that we remember those people and the people that are suffering in our society all the time, not just at special ceremonies. And so one of the prayers that I thought was a very short prayer from a Buddhist, 8th century Buddhist monk. His name is Shanti Deva. And I change only very slightly what he was saying, but I think it's very important to remember that the universe, the eternal Buddha, the great life force in the universe only has our hands and our feet and our tongue. And so how we use it going forward to bring compassion to everyone will make the difference. So let me bring that prayer right now. May we become at all times, both now and forever, a protector of those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a bridge for those with rivers to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without a light, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, and a servant to all in need. For as long as space endures, and for as long as living beings remain, until then, may we too abide to dispel the misery of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Lynch, for sharing that prayer with us today. Up next, we have Reverend Zoe Chang, the Interfaith Minister and President of the UN SMRG.
Good afternoon. It is with very heavy heart and sincere compassion I'm here to offer my prayer for all those victims and survivors of the December disaster in Kentucky and several other states. May I invite you to join me for a simple, short breathing meditation to clear our mind and spirit. Please gently close your eyes. Visualize that all the survivors of the disaster are here with us now, doing the meditation. Let us take a deep breath. Breathe in the fresh, crisp air of winter solstice. Visualize that it fills our entire body. Slowly, we let out all the exhaust, the burden, and the worries. We take another deep breath. Visualize the sunlight heating up all the cells in the body, healing. Slowly, we release all the physical and mental discomfort and disease, either known or unknown. We take the third breath. Visualize the divine light cradles our entire being, giving us protection, courage, and hope. We then slowly exhale and let go all uncertainties and doubt. Now, with one heart, one mind, as one humanity, let us pray. We pray that all souls that departed are in peace. We are grateful for those who are alive and survived the tornadoes. In the midst of devastation and losses, we wish to let them know that we are here right now for them. We pray that damage to their worldly possessions and injury to their inner selves are tended to, both mundanely, and divinely. We pray that they are protected from evil and transgressions. We pray that the right helpers appear by their side and go along the way to recovery. We pray that the helpers are equipped with resources needed. We pray that they are granted their wisdom, strength, compassion, and healing power that would give the timely assistance. We pray that the helpers will care their well-being at the same time. We do not know why this tragedy happens to good people, but we do know that having strong faith at time like this can move mountains. We pray that they will receive abundant grace, mercy, and love. With all our mind, body, soul, and strength, we're sending healing energy to them, and we pray that the divine light shine upon them with blessings. Gade, gade, paragade, parasangade, bodhi swaha. So be it.
Thank you, Reverend Zoe Chang, for guiding us in that breathing meditation practice. Now we have a surprise special guest who has joined us today. It is Ms. Hawa Diallo, the Public Information Officer, Youth Engagement Focal Point NGO Relations and Advocacy Section Department.
Hi, everybody. Greetings. So nice to be here. It is a surprise. I was just very happy to be amongst the group of people really paying tribute to everyone and to really giving these words of wisdom and really prayers, which to me have really touched my heart. It's a pleasure really always for me at the United Nations to work with friends and colleagues in the interfaith community. I would say that even as a UN staff member, I mean, you have to have something stronger than you're holding on to, in addition to the commitment and the dedication you have for your work. I feel as if that sort of sense of a higher being, of faith, harmony amongst the different faiths is something that keeps me going as a UN person and allows me, I always say, to do my work in a better way. I believe as a UN staff member, or as a person in general, you have to be able to empathize with others. It's more than just writing that beautiful report or doing that great event, but being really able to feel for others and to understand the plight of others in various disciplines, different levels. For me personally, that's, as I said, is what gives me that sense of giving back to community, gives me that sense of that I need to do more and do better at the United Nations. I take this opportunity really to send, holiday greetings to everybody. And during these difficult times, I think this sort of harmonious relationship that I have felt with the interfaith community that works in the United Nations is something that I want us to continue building as we go into 2022 and beyond. Thank you so much for having me here. Over to you.
Thank you very much for that reminder of the importance of our common humanity that the United Nations represents and helps us to manifest every day here. Now back to the schedule of speakers. We have Venerable Doshin, who is the abbot of the Jomyongsa Temple.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me. So whenever people die of this kind of natural disaster, we wonder why this unwanted incident happened to innocent people. And we don't know the answer. The only thing we can do is trying to do more or better actions to help others and to make prayer for those victims of a tornado. I offer a traditional prayer of Korean Buddhism for the deceased one, which is by reading the Buddha's teaching the victims of peace then have a better wisdom for their ongoing lives in the future. 하나진생무별령 아미타불 독상수 심심상계 옥구 강염염주의근색상 아짐염주법계관 어궁이승무불관 평등사나무아처관구 서방아미타나무 서방대교 무량수 열애불나무 아미타불나무 아미타 나무 아미타불나무 아미타불나무 아미타 하모 아미타불나무 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 하모 서방정도 극락세계 36만억 11만 9,500 동명 해자대비 아미타불나무 아미타불 서방정도 극락세계 불신 상호무견금생 방면 견조 원계원 이착 포급어일체 아등 여중생 당생 극락구 동견무량조 개공성불도. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Venerable Doshin, for sharing that wonderful and beautiful prayer with us. Up next, we're very honored to have Pastor Guilford Monrose, who is the lead of Mayor-elect Clergy Transition Team and Associate Clergy of Mount Zion Church of God.
Good day and blessings to all. I am trying to see if you can see me well. I hope that I am coming out perfectly fine. It is surely a blessing. We had just recently a prayer too as well for the victims of the tornado. And we would like to offer reflections also on behalf of the Mayor-elect Eric Adams and all of the faith communities in central Brooklyn and in Brooklyn and just beyond in the Christian tradition. And I would like to offer some reflections about just the idea of seeing what the one woman said on the news when she talked to a pastor. And the pastor asked, well, why would God do this to us? And he was responding by saying that the more that we see disasters is the more that we see the hand of God in the midst of humanity. And I thought that that was very important. He was saying that when we take off from us or away from us the whole idea of, oh, woe is me, and the response is, whoa, it should be me, that we can lend a hand to our brothers and sisters even though that we need a hand. So faith is so important when it comes to disasters. So my prayer today is that we have a prayer for people who have no doors, who have lost their all, and who are thinking about a way that God can show up in a mighty way through the lives of those individuals, the neighbors and the friends, people who have lost everything but yet still want to serve, that God's blessing is going to be upon them, and that he will continue to guide and lead them, and that he will give them the strength to look beyond their own personal need and do something great for humanity. It's the power of God. It is the love of God. So my prayers are for those individuals who is seeking help and comfort from God, to give them the grace, to give them the faith to continue on, to be a help, to be the hand of God in the flesh in those critical areas. The blessings of the Lord be upon them, and may his grace continue to shine upon them, and to give them peace, and to give them faith to continue to work. Amen. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for those wise words, Pastor Monrose, reminding us the importance of learning from the tragedies around us. Up next, we have Reverend Dr. T.K. Nagasaki, President of Hawaii Peace and Reconciliation Foundation of New York.
Yeah. Sorry, I hope you can hear me okay, can see me okay. And my name is, the Nagasaki, actually, a little bit different, N-A-K-A-G-A-K-I. And so I would like to hear, first of all, thank you for this invitation, kind invitation. And this is such an important time that to show respect to those people who lost their lives, and so many suffering, including coronas, everything. So it's like, Earth itself is filled with a lot of disaster in different ways, tornadoes, like this case, but also, there's so many other part of the world suffer, all the water, too much rain sometimes, too much dry out, all those different things, all those situation has been happening. So I think we need to be mindful. So in a way, the earth itself seems like a suffering too, from the, environment created by human development, maybe. And global warming, everything feel like, so, in a way, we're all suffering in one way together, but then probably we need to find a way to live, with the earth or nature together harmoniously. And I think it's important here today, we extend compassion for victims and survivors of the tornadoes by Kentucky and southern states, as well as all those people who are suffering in this world. And I hope this prayer can reach to all of the living beings and who are sharing this planet of Earth. For my prayer is basically the prayer from the Japanese Buddhist tradition. So I will just do the reading, chanting of the sutra called Rajaskavativyuha Sutra of Amida, as the Reverend Doshin chanted the Amitabha, and that's the kind of same sutra. And I was going to say before that, I just wanted to appreciate the organization, and first of all, Venerable Yuan for invitation, and also the sponsoring this International Buddhist Progress Society, as well as Buddha's Light International Association. It's very important for organize and make us together here today. So with that gratitude, I also like to offer the prayer. Please join me in meditation. 都合南国主上上異国者外出中央症状時重症医者が非仏国準務症者従業部上上実報合者小津如来海宮三段無料重物異人空毒風化主義小部修上文豪名号新人官議内市一年市新鋭抗がん消費国則特往生重風大天唯上五逆秘宝消防願わくはこの功徳をもって平等に一切に施し同じく菩提心を起こして安楽国に往生せん南無帰依仏南無帰依法南無帰依僧南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無 Thank you and peace to you all.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dr. Nagasaki, for your prayer. Very beautiful prayer to share with us today. And now we have up next is New York Police Department Detective Mohammed Amen to share insights from the Muslim faith tradition.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you everyone for sharing the wonderful prayer to the victim. I want to bring to you that the police department here always for you, for everyone. We represent the most diverse police department in the world, and I'm honored to be part of this to say a few words regarding a prayer in the Muslim faith. Prayers for the victim of the tornado and all the victims that, whether from COVID or any other calamity. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Ameen. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the world, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful, sovereign of the day of recompense. It is you who worship and you who ask for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those whom He hath bestowed favor, not of those who have provoke your anger, or of those who are astray. Oh Allah, let your peace come upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad as you have brought peace to Ibrahim and his family. Truly you are praiseworthy and glorious. Ya Allah, most merciful God, give us strength to meet this year ahead with courage, excitement, and wisdom. Fill our heart with light and love by bringing all of us to people who help us to see our own light through their love. Make us humble and always remember where we came from, to be kind to the unfortunate and needy. Make us one of value people over profit, and let our vision of success be rooted in contribution over consumption, never taken over giving. Help us to succeed without stress, to harness a movement with tranquility by moving with strategy, self-care, and a wakeful heart. And on this day and every tomorrow that we see, make us the reason that people have hope in this world, and never the reason that people might dread us. Ya Allah, most gentle God, polish our heart, mind, body, and spirit with all things that are good as we set forth to take on this coming year. Give us inspiration to work toward achieving each of our heart's aspiration, to find strength through service, success in each failure, and make us always from among those who help bring benefit to your creation. May we always gather in unity, love, and peace. As always, your police department here to help you, your faith leader here to inspire you, and we all share the humanity of this beautiful world. Amen.
Thank you so much, Detective Amen, for the beautiful prayer. I'm honestly getting choked up here. This is really quite an amazing event here. Thank you so much for everyone. Now we're turning the floor over, the virtual floor, to Father Brian Mcweeney, Director of the Office of Ecumenical and Interreligious Affairs at the Archdiocese of New York. Need to unmute though. We can't still hear you. There we go.
When you get older, you're not that attuned to the technology. I rejoice in being able to join with so many of my brothers and sisters, especially my brothers and sisters in the Buddhist community, with whom I have shared so many wonderful experiences, not only here in the United States, but also in our visit to Taiwan to be with many different Buddhist communities. The tornado has come to us to demonstrate the powerlessness many times we have in terms of nature's violence. But also we are familiar with the violence that is caused by us as human beings and the horror that it causes throughout the years and centuries. We're also aware of the upset and tornado, if you would, of COVID that has been with us for the last 2 years, the upset and the pain that is here. My prayer is certainly for those who have suffered so greatly in Kentucky and Arkansas and the other states in that area. My prayer is also with all those who have suffered from COVID, from those who suffer from the injustice of other men assailing other people. You and I must recognize the destruction of these people and pray to our divine presence in our world.
Solemn event, no smile.
To help cease such a terrible violence. But also it is for us not to lose our memory. All too often in our modern day, we forget. Very much the tornado is in our mind this day, Almighty God. Help us to keep those people in our minds and in our hearts. Those we have lost, those who no longer walk among us, but also those who are with us, those who are injured physically, but also spiritually and mentally. We pray, Almighty God, for all, that we would recognize that, yes, we are powerless against nature at times. At times we're powerless against illness. But that does not mean that we cannot respond to the needs of our brothers and sisters, bind up their wounds, strengthen them, change the world in which we live, and be guided always by the faith that motivates us. Grant, we pray, Almighty God, that our actions may always be preceded by your grace and wisdom, and assisted by your help, so that in every prayer and work of ours that may begin through you, we, under your power, may bring it to completion in your presence. Almighty God, protect all of us. Remember every aspect of human life, of nature, and of the world that you have given to us. May we recognize nothing is ours that cannot be shared. Nothing is ours that must not be shared. Nothing is ours for only this moment. It must remain always yours. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Father Mcweeney, for sharing those beautiful insights. I'm going to remember the tornado of the mind most from what you just spoke of. I feel like many of us are sharing that in these difficult times. Up next, we have Bhante Kondana, who is the abbot of the Staten Island Buddhist Vihara.
Good afternoon, dear brothers and sisters. First, I'd like to thank you for Yohan Bhikkhuni for inviting us, bringing us together to join this disastrous time, to share our compassion and our prayers. All of us have seen this, how devastated is this power of the nature, the wind, the water, the heat, and situation. Every day we are experiencing all these difficulties and going through the sufferings. So I'd like to chant the Sutra of blessing, what we call as Metta Sutta, and reminding this, may we have opportunity to do and practice and share our times, share our resources, whatever we could do for the wellness and for the happiness of those who are going through this great suffering. I like to offer this for the families and friends who lost their loved ones, our sympathy, our compassion. So may all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak and strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth. May all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will, should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment. Whether standing, walking, or sitting, lying down, or whenever awake, one should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here. May there be for us all blessings. May all the devas guard us by the power of all Buddhas, by the power of all Dhammas, by the power of all Sanghas, ever in safety may we be. May those who suffer not suffer. May those who are in fear not be in fear. May those who are in grief not be in grief. May all beings be free of these. Bhavatu sabba mangalam rakkhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanghanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te. These are the wishes, the way that the Buddhist prayers goes. May all of us have strength and courage to help each other and seeing the opportunities, and maybe have courage and power to come together and share whatever we have with others. May we all have that strength and courage. Thank you very much for providing us opportunity to be in this virtual prayer service. Thank you again.
Thank you very much for that beautiful prayer, Bhante Kondana. Particularly like the image of how we should see all beings the way a mother looks to protect her child. Up next, we have Sister Elaine P. Smith, the Sister of Mercies of America.
Good afternoon. It's a privilege to be with you today. I was just asked yesterday, because I'm from New Jersey, and I'm very fortunate to be a part of it. So I'm thankful for certainly Ken, who has been at one of our interfaith prayer services. So I'm grateful to be a part of this. So I'd like to say a prayer, one that really is for those who are victims. Merciful and loving God, you are the creator of all that is. We praise and bless you for the wonders that you have made. You have created us all brothers and sisters of each other on our common planet, the earth. When one group is hurt, we are all affected by this hurt. Today, we come together as diverse religious groups to pray for the many victims and survivors of the tornado disaster in several states, especially in the Kentucky area about 10 days ago. We are united in our hope and trust that you will send compassionate and caring people to assist them during this devastating time. As a Catholic Christian, we believe your Son Jesus came among us to show us the way we are to love each other. May his example motivate all those who can aid these victims and survivors. And may these prayers that we make today impact us to be ever more compassionate with those in need. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much for asking me to be with you today.
Amen. Thank you, Sister Elaine Smith. And thanks to Paul Tong for reaching out to you. In these difficult times, this virtual world does provide a means for us to come together. Up next, we have Rabbi Kara Tav, Manager of Spiritual Care Services at NYU Langone Brooklyn Hospital.
Hello, my name is Rabbi Kara Tav, and I'm the Manager of Spiritual Care and a Palliative Care Chaplain at NYU Langone in Brooklyn. I am honored to be a part of this virtual interfaith prayer service, being held in compassion for the victims and the survivors of the tornadoes that tore through Kentucky and our southern states earlier this month. The Venerable Yu Wang and I are fellow sojourners in promoting peace through interfaith spiritual work. I am honored that she and the IBPS encouraged me to raise my voice in prayer today. May the Holy One who blessed our ancestors bless all those whose lives have been disrupted and upended. Especially bless those who are working day and night to sort, rebuild, and comfort. Bless them in their transitions, their comings, and their goings. Wipe out their fear. Sustain them. Source of all breath, of the natural world and all beings. Please protect and restore their hope. Strengthen those who feel downtrodden so that they may strengthen others. Keep them as whole as they can be, whole of body and whole of spirit. Allow them the space to heal and help them know a time without fear. Please bless the sacred lives they lead, and let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Rabbi Kara Tav, for sharing your prayers with us today. And now we turn to the IBPS Venerables chanting service. They'll be chanting the Heart Sutra. So that was the Heart Sutra and Merit Dedication being performed at the New York IBPS Temple in Flushing, New York. And now I'm very happy to turn the floor over to our very own Venerable Yonggu, who is Vice Secretary General, America East, and Abbess of New York and Ottawa's IBPS temples.
Thank you very much, Ken. Good afternoon to our honorable guests, respected Venerable, our fellow clergy and members of many faiths who are joining us today. Greetings to you all. We rely upon all of our faith traditions to give us peace and hope in a time of difficulties. Whether those difficulties are of our own actions or the results of events beyond our immediate control. In our recent history, we are experiencing many climate-related disasters throughout the world, like the outbreak of tornadoes, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcano eruptions, floods, and drought. Therefore, I wish that we all find comfort in the words of our leaders, our scriptures, and the founding guides of our many religions represented here today. Although our cultures, traditions, and practices might be different, we are the same in wishing peace and contentment for all people. We all believe in the importance of care and compassion for all. We are united in our grief and our hope. To guide us and to guide the survivors of the recent storms, I therefore want to share a prayer to the deceased and those still living. It was penned by Venerable Master Xingyun, founder of Fo Guangshan Monastery. O great compassion Buddha, a tornado outbreak happened across the Midwest of the country. So many lost their families in just a moment, with loved ones forever separated. So many lost their lives, homes, and belongings in a flash. They were desperate for the relief of the rescue crew. Some of them tragically fell victim to the disasters. Some of them were innocently wounded and disabled. O great compassion Buddha, we pray for your blessings. May the survivors be relieved of their suffering and recover their good health. May the deceased be reborn in the Pure Land or in the heaven. O great compassion Buddha, please bless and protect the survivors of these disasters. Please grant them the confidence to live a new life. May they know that where there is life, there is hope. Please grant them the courage to move on. May they understand that where there is survival, there is strength. O great compassion Buddha, please give them your blessings, that their bodies and minds may heal quickly. Please give them the strength of equanimity, that their painful sad spirits may regain joyfulness. Please let them understand that only through rebuilding their own lives with fresh energy? Can they enable the deceased to obtain the greatest consolation? And can they themselves obtain the ultimate success? O great compassionate Buddha, please accept our sincerest prayer. O great compassionate Buddha, please accept our sincerest prayer. And I want to end now with a word we often use when greeting others, when praying, and when living. Amen. This simple word is a prayer for you, meaning, may you have everlasting life. And my wish is that all who have been touched by the Midwest storms will take solace in our belief that life continues. May they too have everlasting life. Amen.
Thank you very much, Venerable Yonggu. This is the end of our service, and we're very grateful for each and every one of you for coming here today and reminding us that we must grieve every single one of our brothers and sisters when they pass and when they suffer. And when we grieve, we turn to our faith traditions, each faith tradition that was represented here today and others. It's how we endure these difficult times. So thank you so much for coming and sharing this moment today. And I wish all of you happy holidays, happy New Year, and may peace be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the faith leaders and families. And then thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Wake up from the darkness. Look out on peaceful skies. Living a life of hope. Planting the seeds we sow.
春天花蕊长地红，心中有爱花青芳，传予世界每一人，脚踏实地有希望。
我们手牵着手，让世界改变，爱就在你左右，微笑遍布世界，拥抱爱与和平，净化人间。We are one， 世界是我的家。
对大难，大于一山，沙万一米，大于一山，山个巴呀，大于一山，山多，bagi bika巴呀，大于一山。
Bangkit dari kegelapan.
you. Bye bye.